If there's any way that I could try to, like you said, if I blow up tomorrow, overnight, whatever, if there's some way that I can give back just to show that appreciation, then that's what I want to do.
Let's go.
Oh, you gotta watch it.
Get ready to get inspired. This is the Go4TheGoldy podcast.
Happy Cinco de Mayo from Frisco, Texas. It's Wednesday, May 5th, 2021, and this is the Go4TheGoldy podcast, episode 34. Today I'm joined by United States Marine Corps veteran and motorsport enthusiast. Joining me from down the road in Corpus Christi, Texas, Jordan Brock. Jordan, welcome to the show, sir.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, definitely, man. So, let's get it kicked off with a quick intro about yourself. Just a quick minute or two about, who you are and what you are all about. Go ahead.
My name is Jordan Brock. I am 30 years old. Like I said, Marine Corps veteran. I joined the Marine Corps in 2011. I did 4 years active, 4 years inactive. Moved to Phoenix when I got out, went to school. I went to MMI for motorcycles, got my certifications in BMW and Kawasaki. After that, I went to UTI for GM products, so certified as well in Cadillac, GMC, Chevy, Buick. And now I am in Corpus Christi, married to a Coast Guard, active duty, and streaming.
That is really
and,
cool.
Full-time dad.
Wow, so you got a lot going on. And, first of all, I always, I know it's kind of cliche to say this sometimes, but I really do appreciate your service because this country needs people that do that. I certainly am not someone who I think could handle that, and I always am so appreciative that people like you are out there. So thank you for your service.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's got to be pretty interesting living with, an active military person as well. You guys got to just be pretty competitive, huh?
It's completely different seeing it from the other side now. Like you're when you're in, you see everybody and you're like, oh man, it's just a complete different mindset now that I'm seeing the other side. We're living on base down in Corpus Christi, so now I see all the active duty people, and I'm the one walking around like, what do I do with my life now? Just kind of like I don't really have to answer to anybody except for the wife, of course, but
Right.
But it's like when you're in, you're told 24/7 what to do, where to be, when to be there, and now it's just freedom, and it's completely different. And you always hear people have to get adjusted to when they get out, and I always figured, it's nothing's going to be different when I get out. No, it definitely, when you get out, it's a huge adjustment period.
I bet. I mean, just the camaraderie, from what I understand, the camaraderie, and just you said you were 4 years active, so I mean that's an experience that I just most of our population will never understand what it truly is like to be in situations like that, and I think it's whether it's for better or for worse, it's something that you were accustomed to, right? So coming back to
yeah,
life,
definitely. Like there's people that I was stationed with that know more about me from being with them for anywhere from a year to 3 years, know more about me than my family does, who's known me my entire life. You literally, you're sleeping in the same room, you eat with these people, you work with these people, you hang out with these people, because those are, that's your family when you're there.
Right.
Granted, there's some people that I haven't talked to probably in maybe a year, but granted, if I were to call them or they were to call me, we would drop everything we're doing and be there for each other, if at all possible.
That's awesome to know that you have that support staff, and I'm sure they're scattered around the country, right? I mean, when you come
back. Oh yeah, definitely.
So when so you said about 8 years, right? 4 years active, 4 years inactive. Is
Yep.
that right? So what was kind of your path to deciding to get into the military? Like, do you have a was your family involved in it, or are you like a first?
So my dad and my uncle were both in the Army, But kind of my reasoning for joining the military is so whenever I moved to Canada whenever I was 9. I'm originally from North Carolina. Moved to Canada when I was 9. My mom remarried. And then when I was 19, moved back to North Carolina with my grandparents. And then I was working a dead-end job at a hardware store, making absolutely nothing. And I'm like, all right, I need to do something with my life. I either need to go to school or get a better job. But in order to get a better job, you need to go to school. In order to go to school, you need to have a better job or you're going into debt. Yep. So, like I said, my uncle was in the Army, and me and him, we were 5 years apart growing up. So there was always that, kind of competition between me and him. He was more like my brother than my uncle. And he was in the Army. So I'm like, you know what? One up, I'm going to join the Marine Corps. And that's kind of the baseline of how I ended up joining the Marine Corps.
Wow, that's cool. It's iron sharpens iron, right? I mean, it's...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned your father was in the Army, and you said you're from North Carolina. Is there a connection there? Like, were you born in North Carolina because your father was in the Army?
Oh, no. My dad joined the Army later on after him and my mom had separated.
Gotcha. Okay. And then I know we talked about this real briefly, but I want to talk about this on air because a lot of my friends... Mississauga, what was the experience like being a Canadian for a bit?
Oh, man, it was... So I moved to, let's see, I think I was about 9 whenever we moved to Mississauga, which, was right outside of Toronto. Mm-hmm. My stepfather was a Toronto police officer. So I went from 6th grade all the way through high school in Mississauga. I started working briefly in Mississauga, and the whole reason for me even moving back to North Carolina was my grandparents started, their health started declining a little bit. But I mean, Canada in general, it's a lot different, but it's not different at the same time. Like it's more diverse.
I feel like when you're walking around, it's like, this feels like the U.S., but not.
Exactly. But the main thing is just there's so much diversity there.
Yeah. Especially
that's exactly. Yeah.
I remember one of my first real experiences was experiencing Caravana up there. I didn't know what was going on, and I was like, "Whoa! Like this is a culture shock." It was cool to see. I didn't know, what to. I didn't, because we used to go up there to see the Yankees. Being in Buffalo, we got the Yes Network, and we just kind of grew up. Not really like diehard fans or anything, but you just get to know the teams that are on TV, so we go see the Yankees every time they were in Toronto. And it happened to be during a Blue Jays game that we were up there, and it was cool to see, man. It's definitely like an international city. I always say I definitely, if Toronto was in the United States, I feel like I probably would have wound up there just because it's so close to Buffalo, and but getting Canadian citizenship is super hard, isn't it?
I was never actually technically Canadian citizen. I was a landed immigrant, so I had the status. I had the opportunity to get dual citizenship, and I was going to apply for it. But I kind of knew deep down that I wanted to be back in the States strictly because growing up with my grandparents so close, when we lived in the States, we were never more than 5 minutes away from my grandparents. So it was like they were, my second parents growing up, and then everything started happening with them. I'm like, there's no point in me even getting dual citizenship. I'm going to move back. I'm going to be with them. But it took, I want to say it took almost 2 years to finally get everything done even with my dad working for the government there, being a police officer. It still took a while to get landed status. Yeah,
that's because I don't know, I could be wrong on this, but I thought it was something like you have to prove that you have some kind of unique skill or something that a native-born Canadian can't do in order to get citizenship.
I was 9 years old. I can't tell you what I had for breakfast yesterday. So I mean,
I'm in the same boat, man. So I feel you there. When you said your stepdad are they called Mounties? Are they Mounties?
No, he wasn't a Mountie, but a lot of them there are Mounties. He was actually he worked in the court system, so he was in the States. Bailiffs is essentially what he did. He was down in the courts.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So when you say you're from Carolina, what part of Carolina are you from?
I'm North Carolina, in between Goldsboro and Kinston, little tiny town, LaGrange, North Carolina. It's eastern North Carolina, roughly an hour and a half away from Raleigh.
Interesting, because you have no accent. So I would have thought that like being from like the sticks of Carolina like that, you'd have a little bit of a thicker accent.
Well, I mean, I'd moved. I've been all over the freaking world. So
Yeah.
there's times certain words that'll come through, but just kind of lost it over time, I guess.
So you're into motorsports. What do you put into your engine? To grease it up a little bit. What do you put in there?
Honestly, like my granddad was a firm believer of seafoam.
Really?
So
I'll tell you, I know nothing about motorcycles. I was trying to get you to say oil. I know that's a Carolina word. I had a roommate. She was from Waxhaw, North Carolina. I lived in Charlotte for a bit, so my roommate was from Waxhaw, which is like a half hour, 45 minutes.
You're trying to get me to say Earl?
Yeah, see, there were words that they were saying. I'm like, what the hell are you trying to say?
Yeah.
With my accent being from Buffalo, it just was like, water and oil. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool, man. So, 8 years in the military, and then you said, what's MMI? What was that?
Motorcycle Mechanic Institute.
I guess that makes sense. Cool. So that's what really got you. So had you had any experience with motorcycles or anything like that before?
So growing up, I was always riding dirt bikes. Always loved dirt bikes. So that kind of just carried over. And then when I got into the military, my last 2 years, I was stationed out in 29 Palms, and everyone that I was with there, they all, we out in the desert, so we all got dirt bikes and everything like that. And I'm like, I want to start riding on the street. It's definitely more beneficial for gas, everything, save money. So you being in the military, you have to take the motorcycle safeties course and everything like that. So I actually got a KLR dual sport, so off-road, on-road type thing, and got that, went through the course, everything like that, just basically to have fun and a way of commuting as well. And that graduated, I moved to Phoenix and got out there, sold my KLR, ended up getting a Buell, which it was Harley's rendition of a sports bike. It was Eric Buell was the guy that created the motor, and he kind of branched off to his own thing. So it just constantly graduated, and I was always a Kawasaki guy. And that was the first thing I'd ever had outside of the realm of Kawasaki. So I got that, and then ended up getting in a wreck on that, and after that I got another Kawasaki. So
wow, and it's pretty cool that you kind of parlayed that into a career then, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that I never actually wanted to do motorcycles for a career because I enjoyed it so much. I didn't want to get burnt out on it. I wanted to kind of have that as, like a side job that I could help people out, do stuff that I still enjoyed, kind of, working out of the garage type thing, teach people, work on it when I want to, make a little bit of money here and there. So that was kind of just always my plan, was just to have that as a side job. Gotcha. But I still wanted to be in the automotive industry, and that's why I went to UTI, which is a Universal Technical Institute, afterwards, and started working on cars.
And how long ago was that?
I went to, MMI was started in November of 2015. So graduated from there. That was about a year and a half. And then literally the week I graduated from there, I started UTI. So I was there for about a year and a half. So I've been out of school now for probably 4 years about.
Oh, okay. So Mo Allen's listening right now, and he says he thinks he used a belt-driven Buell to do his motorcycle safety foundation course back in the day, and then he used a scooter to get his motorcycle license.
Yeah, back when they were actually Buell, they're actually completely closed down now. But when it was actually Buell, they were all belt-driven, and then they hit bankruptcy. And then somebody rebought the company, brought Eric Buell back on, and they rebranded as EBR Racing. And that's when they converted to chain driven. But all the first generations and everything they were all belt driven, just like the Harleys.
Very good. Okay, so Mo Allen, we know you're not lying, so we appreciate that. We won't call you a liar live on the air. So that's cool, man. The reason I asked, when you got into all this stuff with the mechanics, because I can only imagine, because everything just seems so automated and computerized now, as opposed to 20 years ago.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of like you plug it in, it runs the diagnostics, and it kind of seems like it's more tight knit between like the manufacturer and like the car companies, as opposed to like
That's exactly what it is. Like I'll tell you, I worked at a dealership, so cars would come in, and literally the first thing you would do if they have a check engine light on, first thing you do, hook them up to the computer, see what's wrong. It gives you the error code, and if you don't already know what the error code is, you go up to the manufacturer's website, pull up the list, and they give you literally a list of diagnostics to run through. The first one is always visual inspection, just to make sure that nothing, but everything from that point downward, 9 times out of 10 is all straight from the computer.
Wow.
You press a button, check this, press a button, check that. It's all just...
It's a shame because, like, I get it. I get why they want to do that. They kind of, like, want to standardize it. But at the same time, it takes some of the romance out of, like, the old,
exactly.
old kind of cars.
Exactly.
I'm not, I'm pretty useless when it comes to that stuff. I love it. I find it interesting, but there's only so much time in a day, right? But I definitely appreciate, I like watching, someone like Jay Leno, for instance, right? Who just,
yeah.
I like seeing people who are passionate about cars. That's why I like watching, like, comedians and Cars with Coffee, with Jerry Seinfeld. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but
I've briefly, like, glanced through it, but never actually.
It's cool.
But I do watch Jay Leno's Garage. I watch that frequently.
Neat.
So
yeah, I like that kind of stuff. I like watching people who are passionate about what they do. So, and I guess that's a perfect way to kind of bring into it why we wanted why you wanted to come on the show today. So we met through, I think it was the Rays.
Yes, it was.
Right. So I mean, I'll be fully transparent here. I have no interest in ever like selling any Rays or anything. I just want to meet interesting people. So that's
I think I've made like 3 sales, and it was all to one of my buddies that was in the Marine Corps with me. Nice. And he's just strictly there trying to help me, support me, and that's
cool, man.
I mean.
So when as soon as you hopped on here, I was like, oh, you're a streamer when you got the green screen behind you. What do you like streaming, or what do you stream?
So I mean, right now I kind of feel like the stream meta is Warzone. So of course I play Warzone. I've played Call of Duty for years. So I'll play Warzone for the majority of my streams, but I huge into classic World of Warcraft. Been playing World of Warcraft ever since it was first introduced 15 years ago.
Nice.
So still playing that. I recently got into Magic Online, so Magic the Gathering, the card game from years and years ago, but recently got into that. So but the majority of my streaming right now is just Warzone or WoW, but I'm kind of trying to transition over a little bit. I got a YouTube channel as well, just trying to get a couple of different, I want to use my skill set and get different things out there. I want to try to make like mechanical videos, teaching people how to do like simple fixes here and there, do's and don'ts. I want to do like PC builds. I want to do like firearm builds, stuff that you can't actually stream on Twitch. Yeah. That's why I have the YouTube channel, is just try to kind of get a diverse audience. I want to use my knowledge to help people that, with similar interests.
Yeah, man, that's how. All right, so quick about me. Last year, I got furloughed, like literally, like at this time, around May 1st. May 1st was the day that I got furloughed, and like you got until August. We're definitely gonna furlough you until August, and then in August, we'll do a shout out to Rays. I saw that. There it is. Mo Allen was asking about it. So, but last May 1st, they were like, we're gonna furlough you until August, and then from there, we'll see what's going on with everything. So, I'm the kind of person who I'm a triathlete, so I'm not, and that's just one of the million things that I do. But I didn't even own a laptop at this time last year. And I was like, I know I want to get into this space, but I don't know exactly what I want to do. And I started streaming. I got on Twitch and I just started streaming random games. And
yeah,
I didn't even own a Switch at the time. I owned. I'm a gamer, but I like the old school games a lot. I like the Wii stuff, and I have a PS4, and I like playing Grand Theft Auto and that kind of stuff. But
So the last console that I actually owned was a PS2.
There
if
you
that
go.
tells you anything. I mean, so I graduated. Like, I've always kind of been into the whole streaming thing. You know, back when I was in high school, streaming wasn't around. It was, you know, loading videos on YouTube and stuff like that. And that's when PSPs were big. Like right when PSPs first came out, and you know, it was all the rage to like jailbreak them and stuff like that.
Yep.
And so I actually, back on my original YouTube channel, I have videos of my original PSP, like jailbroken, booting up Windows Vista, custom boot loads, playing PS1 games on the, you know, so I've always kind of been into that.
Yeah.
But and I think that's kind of what just gradually transferred into me wanting to stream.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm kind of the same way with that too. And me and you, I always talk about this. So you said you're 30, right?
Yeah.
So I'm 34. So obviously we're not too big of an age gap there.
No, not at all.
And I think people of our generation, I think we hit like, I don't know, like maybe older millennials, I guess you'd call us.
Yeah.
I think we hit like a sweet spot in the technology world where we didn't grow up with it. Like you said, you know, there wasn't live streaming when I was in high school. I mean, smartphones weren't even around when I was in high school, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, I think that 07.
You know, I was still playing like Tron on the little number pad and everything.
Yeah, and Snake on your phone.
Snake, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, Snake on your Nokia, you know? I mean, I had Cricket Wireless and shit. Like, I had, you know, it was...
I think, like, the sidekicks were the big thing.
Yeah,
you know, or the original, where the original Razor was like, you know,
yeah.
that's the time frame when I was in high school.
Yeah. So I had the Razor like fresh out of high school. So yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, so I think we grew up in this sweet spot. And I've always been someone who like, I just like exploring and doing new stuff. And I like being entertaining to people, you know. And it's not like class clowny kind of stuff. I just like making people laugh, or like, you know, I like being interesting and having people. So that's why I wanted to like do this whole like ecosystem and just talk to cool people, because like selfishly I get to talk to a lot of really cool people like yourself. And I started streaming, and stick with me here because this is ridiculous. It's a game called Jerry Rice and Nidus Dog Football. And it's it's on Wii. It's this ridiculous game, and it's I don't know why Jerry Rice put his name on this. Well, I mean, I know because I think it's hilarious and awesome. But it's a game where you've like a caricature, like some kind of cartoon character is like your quarterback, and then the rest of the characters are dogs. And it's football with dogs on Wii. I mean, it is ridiculous and stupid, but I'm like, you know what? How you get started on streaming is you just start streaming, right? And then you just kind of figure it out.
Yeah, that's
You can't overthink it. And I was sitting at the pool with my buddy the one day, and he's like, "Dude, like I know you like are putting a lot of effort into this, but he's like, no one's gonna want to watch you stream." And he's just like, it's like that's stupid. And he's like, people want to watch people that are like either knowledgeable or like professional comedians or like celebrities. And then I started thinking, I'm like, well, I'm on Team USA Triathlon for, you know, at the age group level, and I'm like, I found this. I had been dabbling on this platform called Zwift, and if you could see my bike, like right behind me,
yep.
I ride indoors on Zwift, and I was like, huh. And I saw people streaming it on Twitch, so that's when I started streaming all my rides on Twitch, and I started racing on there, and people were following along in my progress, and the community's great. I mean, you meet a lot of really good cyclists, and for instance, Mo Allen. Mo Allen is somebody who I came in contact with on Zwift, and it just became this that became the focal point of my streaming. But I'm at the point now where I think you just hit on it. I want to be able to control the content that goes out, if that makes sense. Like obviously this. It's live. We're just talking. We just met, you know.
Yeah.
For the most part, I like recording stuff, piecing it together, like the production and like the entertainment value of YouTube, and providing a service for people.
Exactly.
And that's what I think you were alluding to with like the car stuff is. I've been listening to a lot of books and podcasts and YouTube videos about, you know, growing your YouTube channel, just kind of getting an understanding from like the pros and how they do it. And I never really thought about it like this, but like YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world.
Oh yeah, I mean, I won't even lie. If I don't know how to do something and I want to do it myself, the first place I go to is YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and the majority of people I know are the exact same way. If you want to figure out how to do something and you are a visual learner, the first place you go to is YouTube. If you don't have somebody beside you that knows how to do it, just YouTube it.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's what I was just listening to. I was riding my bike a little bit ago, and I'm always watching this. I forgot his name, but he's got a lot of really good stuff about YouTube growth. And today he was talking about, it's either education or entertainment. If you provide one of those two things, that's really the two buckets that you should be thinking of or be cognizant of. And then he was talking with Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't know if you know him at all, but
not really. No.
He's like, whatever. He's a pretty major not influencer. He's whatever. He's a guy. So, but he was talking about, too many people go on like YouTube and make videos about, me, and like, just want celebrity for not really doing anything and just making it about themselves. Well, why would you? Another guy I interviewed on the show a couple months ago, or maybe a month ago, but he's a Twitch streamer, and he said, and I took this to heart. I really liked it. He said, go back and watch your videos and like compare that to someone else in your space. And if you wouldn't watch your video over someone else's video in your same space, like, then you got to change what you're doing. Because if you're not even going to want to watch your own video, why the hell would a stranger want to watch your video?
Exactly. Exactly.
So I took that to heart. I thought that was a pretty good piece of advice, and he's doing really well. He was one of those guys that got screwed in that mixer situation. Yeah. But he's back on Twitch, and he's just
exactly like he said. If you don't want to watch you, then why would somebody else want to watch you? And alluding to what you said about entertainment versus education, is those that's why I was saying that I want to, because I try to do something myself, and if I can't do it, then I'll watch a video on it. Like, I'll try to piece it together myself. And if I can figure out one way to do it and it works, then why not take that and film that in order to give someone else, like, hey, look, there's 27 ways you can do this. Here's my way. Mm-hmm. My way may be a little bit easier for you than this way. This way may be easier for you, because people are different types of learners, and people go about things different ways. People may want to start, if you take somebody and say, okay, we're going to go in on 3. You're going to have one group of people that will go, okay, 1, 2, 3, go. Mm-hmm. Then you're going to have another group of people that are 3, 2, 1. So, you have both sides of the spectrum, and you just need to learn mainly your audience base, what side they are, and then just cater to that side while still trying to maintain the openness to be able to bring that other side in.
I love that concept, and I think that's where I see the beauty of YouTube and the internet and just connecting with people like you. There's too much hyper-politicalization or hyper-polarization. Like, if you want to spend your time getting angry and going on the internet and yelling about one political issue or, one side of the aisle or the other, whatever. I don't know what you are. I don't care what you are. You're a cool dude. You served our country, and we're going to talk about friggin' streaming and motorcycles and whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I think I love the idea that, like, what you were saying, there's a million ways to do the same thing, and why not, just put it out in the universe and help somebody. If I could help one person, get inspired to do cool stuff through this show, like then it's achieved what I've wanted it to do.
Exactly. If you have, like you just said, if you have the ability to help one person, why would you not help that person versus just sitting there and not helping anybody?
Yeah.
Because that one person can go on to help. The rule of 10? That one person can go on to help 10 others, and then those 10 people are going to go on to help that many others, and it's all thanks to you and what you did.
Yeah, I love that idea. And it's funny that you said that, because I'm literally going to have to take like a week off of work to do this, but at the beginning of the year, you can see, like, at the very, oh no, you can't see it on your stream because you're looking right at me, but I have a goal board right over here, and I have written down all of my goals for the year for 2021. And one of them was learn how to solve the Rubik's Cube. And I put my head down for like 2 or 3 weeks at the beginning of the year. That was like the first thing I wanted to achieve this year. And I couldn't find a single YouTube video that could teach me to do it. And I pieced all the different ones together. And I was like, okay, this makes sense, this doesn't, this makes sense. So I want to take like a week off of work and just make a really solid how I know how to do the Rubik's Cube. But it's exactly like what you're saying. You know, if it works for me, and I do it every day now, and just to keep it, fresh. But like, if I could put that out there and, that helps someone figure out the Rubik's Cube, if they've been frustrated trying to figure it out, well, then my video helped, and I just
let me know when you put that video out there, because to this day I still don't know how to do a Rubik's Cube. So
yeah, it was it's pretty cool because it's like one of those, like, not a stupid human trick, but like I'll impress my friends. I'll be like, "Yo, scramble this up," and then I'll say, "All right, I'll solve it," and then I can do it in like maybe like 2 minutes, and then I'll give it to them, and they won't even realize that I did it. They thought I like gave up or whatever, because they're expecting it to take like a really long time. They go, "No, I'm done," and they look at it like, "Oh!" So I love getting that reaction out of people.
The most I was able to do when I worked at the dealership, there was a guy there that he had like on his desk, he had like 5 different Rubik's Cubes. He had like the 2 bys, the 3 bys, the 4 bys. And he taught me how to do like the little cross pattern and the 4 corners.
Okay.
And that was the extent of my Rubik's Cube knowledge. And this was, like a year ago, 2 years ago. I haven't touched one since. I don't own one. So,
See, right there is exactly why I want to make a video, because I don't do the 4 corners at all. So there you go.
Like that was the extent of it. And the way that he taught it, like you were saying, one person is going to pick up on this. Somebody may not. Me and one of my buddies were both standing right there. I got it. He didn't. So he had to explain it another way for him to pick up on it. And the way that he explained it to him, I didn't understand, but he did.
Yeah, that's why I love it. Those 4x4 though, that's see, I'm the kind of person who gets obsessed with stuff. So immediately when I was like, okay, the Rubik's Cube, believe it or not, this is pretty wild. This happened a couple of weeks ago. I was like, I want to do some kind of like, I don't know, I want to do some kind of crazy challenge. Like on YouTube. I'm into these like crazy challenges and putting them on YouTube. So a couple months ago I did the 4x4x48 challenge. I ran 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. I'm like starting to get into a lot of this kind of stuff. And I was like, have you ever heard of the beer mile?
Yes.
So the beer mile, as you know, for those who don't know, you drink a beer, and I think it at least has to be 4%, I think. So you chug a beer, run a lap at a track. Chug a beer, run a lap at a track. Chug a beer, run a lap at a track. Chug a beer, run a lap. So it's 4 beers, 4 laps, which equals a mile, and it's a race. So I was like, what if I can combine the Rubik's Cube into that? So chug a beer, do the Rubik's Cube, run a lap. Chug a beer, do the Rubik. And I'm like, that's a pretty cool idea. I thought it'd be fun to like do the challenge,
I'd watch it.
Been done. There's a world record. It's like a thing. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I can't think of anything. But I saw there is a record for Rubik's Cubes solved in, like how many times you could solve a Rubik's Cube in a marathon, but it has to be under 5 hours. And it was really interesting watching the guy do it. It's a golf cart, and there's 2 guys in the back of the golf cart, and one guy has a fishing net, and the other guy's a scrambler. So the guy does it, throws it in the fishing net, and then the other guy has one on deck, gives it to the guy. And it's like this little ecosystem that they have while this guy runs away with them. I thought that was pretty cool. So like my mind immediately goes to like that stuff. It's like, all right, I taught myself the Rubik's Cube. What next? You know what I mean? What kind of like record can I go? What unique challenge can I come out with? And that's why I like the entertainment aspect of YouTube. Is like I like kind of doing stuff that's kind of off color, but I think fun to watch.
Do how many Rubik's Cubes you can solve? Like, is there a record for like Rubik's Cubes while riding a bike?
That's a good one. I don't know.
I mean, like maybe go get on like an indoor track or something. I don't know how good you are. No hands, but I mean,
I don't have to balance on that thing. It's
there you go.
So
there you go. I mean,
Mo Allen actually just said he watched a guy do it in 30 seconds, one-handed, while hanging from a bar overhead with the other hand. Oh, I saw that. I think SportsCenter may have retweeted that, or one of the big sports accounts. Have you seen that, Jordan?
No, that's. I'm just picturing it though, and that's just ridiculous.
This dude was just jacked. He was like this, and just like it's that kind of. I'm like, that's years, eons away. So I am doing I'm doing a stream in a couple weeks as a part of a like one of those, like, you know, in streaming, like the telethons.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That might be a good one to do. Cause I got 3 hours on the bike I'm going to be doing for charity, and that could be like maybe billed as like world record for how many times I could solve a Rubik's Cube in 3 hours on a bike.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's probably done, but hey, if not, then there you go.
Hey, and at least I can say we're made an attempt, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Even if it doesn't go through, attempt at the world record for
That's
it. You
right.
know,
That's right.
You never know.
So I wanted to ask you about your streaming. So you said primarily Warzone, and I find that interesting because obviously as a military guy, is that why, you know, you're attracted to that? Like, is that like realistic to you?
Oh no, absolutely not.
Okay.
No, no way, shape or form. No, it is completely different. There is no. I find there's no aspect of, you know, anything that translates. It's just, you know, it's a game. You don't get. Yeah, people rage if they die or whatever, but at the end of the day, you're not actually getting hurt. The main reason I primarily stream Warzone is my best friend he plays Warzone a lot, and he was my roommate when I lived in Phoenix, and that, you know, that me and him always played Warzone together.
That's so
and
cool. That's so cool.
That's why I stream Warzone mainly. And I feel like for other games, like mainly RPG games especially, but you actually have to sit down and you have to think about what you're going to do on a stream, unless you have a big following, and then they can give, you know, feed off each other like that. But as someone like myself just starting out, you don't have a huge fan base. Mm-hmm. So unless you already have something planned for that specific night, you're kind of sitting there in limbo where you don't really know what to do. You kind of just start doing this, that, just kind of dabbling and stuff like, I really don't feel like doing this, I'm going to go do that. And I find that, you know, as a viewer, I wouldn't want to watch that.
Right.
I would want to watch someone that has a set plan. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to go about it, you know, and execute that plan. Mm-hmm. I feel in Warzone, it's just, you don't really need to have a plan, you know, because the game has a million outcomes.
Right. It's
so
kind of like a similar concept to like Fortnite. Obviously not, they're very different games, but it's like the same concept versus
it's still exactly. It's a battle royale game. So I mean, you know, you're playing with hundreds of other people that are all on the same map at the same time, so you never really have that downtime as you would in, like I said, I stream Classic WoW, and that is kind of like, unless it's a raid night or unless I have a group of friends on that we already say, hey, we're going to go do this. Mm-hmm. Whenever you log on, it's kind of like you have to find something to do, unless you've sat down prior to it and made a list. All right, this is what I'm going to do for the stream. You know, this amount of time for this amount of time for this amount of time for this. So that I try to only stream WoW whenever I have set plans already made.
Right.
And all the other time is just Warzone, so I don't really have to hassle trying to figure stuff out.
I'll tell you, man, I don't think. How do I say this? I don't think people really understand the amount of work that goes into streaming. I mean, they think it's just you sit down, you turn on your game or whatever you're going to stream, and you just go. And people just don't understand how much behind-the-scenes work goes into even just getting your shit online. I mean,
oh yeah,
the right sound and all that. I mean, what streaming software do you use?
I'm using Twitch.
No, I'm sorry. Like
OBS. Sorry.
OBS. Okay, yeah. So
I actually started out using Twitch Studio, and then I changed over to OBS.
I tried using Twitch Studio. I think it was in beta. Is it still in beta?
It's still in beta. Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't figure it out. I just couldn't. I don't know. Get a handle on it. I use Streamlabs OBS. I really like that.
I started out on the Twitch Studio whenever when I first started out. You know, I had not the greatest computer. It was decent for the price, and I only had one monitor, so I was using Twitch Studio, so I didn't have to worry about any of this, you know, back and forth. And then I tried using dual stream setup using the NDI. I didn't have a capture card or anything like that, so that's when I went to OBS, tried the dual stream, and I liked it up until the point where I got a different monitor, and I have a widescreen for my main monitor, and I could not get that to translate over to the streaming PC
Gotcha. Okay.
due to the aspect ratio. So now I'm just doing a single PC stream, dual monitors on OBS, and for WoW and Warzone, yes, Warzone is a huge computer intensive game, but I don't really play it all that much. So if it works, it works.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I think, first of all, if I were to see myself right now a year ago doing this and having this conversation, I'd be like, who is this guy and what did you do with Brian Goldsmith? But like going to what you said earlier, I think you should talk about this kind of stuff, like how to stream Warzone and how to get it set up, because I think that's a huge barrier for a lot of people, because I think there's a lot of people out there. I mean, I have a lot of friends down here that I hang out with that are like 26, 27, and like we were talking about, I think me and you hit a sweet spot. I think that those guys, like, they have no idea how to do any of this stuff, and I think they're obsessed with Warzone, and they would love to stream it. They just don't know how. If you made videos like that, I think that would really help too.
Like you're saying, I feel like we hit that age where we are in tune enough with both. Just take cars, for example, in tune with the mechanical aspect as well as the computer aspect, and we've been around both of them enough to put them together to actually merge the two and get them to work. And exactly like you were saying, that we're in that sweet spot for the generations.
I agree, man. It's funny because like my buddy is a huge Call of Duty Warzone guy. He's been trying to get me into it, and I'm just like, man, in another life I would. I just have so much freaking stuff going on. So I went over to his house the one night, and he's got one of those retro Super Nintendos. Those like compact ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the preloaded games. And Super Mario World was on there. And Mario is my jam. That's why I have a Switch, because I love the Mario franchises. If I had my way, man, I would just like stream all my my YouTube channel is all like triathlon and stuff. I would do triathlon and Mario. Those would be like my two things.
Hell yeah!
So we started playing, and he's just like, dude, you're like a wizard. Like, he couldn't believe how good I was at Mario. And I told him, I go, dude, you got to understand, like, you've been playing Call of Duty for like what? I don't know. When did Call of Duty come out? Maybe, I don't know, 11? 10?
I have no idea. I couldn't tell you.
But anyway, like, I go, dude, you got to understand, I've been playing Mario since the early 90s. Like, since I was 5, 6 years old. I have like 25 years of Mario. Like, you don't think about it like that.
Exactly.
But, you know what I mean? And he was like, dude, I never really thought about it that way. And yeah, it was just funny to like put it in that kind of context, and that's why, and that's another reason too, where and that's why I asked you earlier how long you've been playing Warzone for, because I think these games you're not seeing, like, you do obviously see new games come out, but like the legacy games like Grand Theft Auto, like Call of Duty, like Apex Legends, like all these games that keep building on the original. If you didn't get in and become like an expert at it early on, like online play is like impossible.
Oh yeah, that like you just said, I played Call of Duty, but it was never online. Like, I always just did the campaign stuff. So Wars, I am not good by any means. I like everyone, I'll have my games here or there where I can get decent kills and whatnot. I'm not good by any. I don't even have. I think my KDR is like a 0.4. I don't know. But like you were saying with the whole retro games and stuff, I had a Super Nintendo up until PS2 came out. So I had that entire. I skipped over N64. I skipped over the PS1. I skipped over Xbox. I had a Super Nintendo playing, like you said, Super Mario, playing Mortal Kombat, and all the way up until PS2, and then that's when I started my RPG gameplay. Final Fantasy X was that was my game.
That was your jam, huh?
Like, I had a game file up there for over 200 hours of playtime, just
Wow.
different load settings, just go back and fight certain bosses over and over and over and over. And like if I could find that or find an emulator or something like that, like you said, that's what I would stream.
Yeah.
Is I would go back and I would stream Final Fantasy because that's what I know. You know, different tactics for different bosses. Like you're great at Mario, you know, Mario is your jam, Final Fantasy is my jam. I feel like I would have a way more successful run at this if that's what I would do. But I'm trying, and I think this is a problem with a lot of streamers that try to stream and then get down on themselves because they're not getting the viewers. But that's what it is because they're doing stuff that they like, but they're trying to keep up with the streaming meta. Yeah. They're not actually, you know, if you, like you were saying, if you were to play Mario versus you jumping on Call of Duty, people would be way more entertained because it's something you're good at, you thoroughly enjoy doing. If I were to play Final Fantasy, it's something that I'm better at, something that I enjoy doing, and the viewers would see that, and it would be, you know, a better relationship between streamer and viewer.
You're right, man. You're definitely right about that. And I actually, I kind of found a little niche on Mario. So I play. I don't know if you've ever heard of Super Mario Maker. Have you ever heard that game? Or
no?
Okay, so it's real briefly. It's like a game where all the elements of all the Mario games are combined into one game, and you can either be a maker or a player. So if you're a maker, you can literally make boards to emulate any, like the original Nintendo, Super Mario 2, Super Mario 3, Super Mario World. It's pretty cool. Or, you know, some of the newer ones too, like Super Mario 3D World, all that stuff. And then, like, when you make the boards, they're slotted into either easy, medium, hard, or expert. And I play... So there's this challenge just called the Easy Endless Challenge. So it's an endless flow of boards that people are just constantly making boards, and if they're easy, they go into this queue. So I'm trying to climb the ranks globally of my position in the world for Super Mario Maker Easy Endless. So I started off at I think 150,000 in the world, and right now I'm close to 1,100 in the world. So I'm getting up there, you know. And
yeah, and that's, you know, probably, like you were saying, due to your knowledge of how Mario works.
I love it.
Exactly.
So it out, and people like coming on. This is what I think. This is my favorite thing that's like alluring to me about this whole streaming and YouTube. This is why I'm like really into YouTube. Is people, I think, like the personalities rather than the games themselves. So if you find, like, my core of my YouTube and my Twitch and everything, because I got Twitch affiliate from streaming Zwift, from my cycling,
right?
But, like, you know, Mo Allen comes on and he watches, you know, us talk about you. You know, he likes the show. I'll have people hop on my Mario streams and they have no interest in Mario whatsoever, but they just like coming on and talking and hanging out, you know? And I think this is what's really attractive to me is, like, you don't have to be this mega superstar to, like, be successful on these platforms and, you know, develop a really cool community. And that's what I really like.
I find with streaming, it's either, like you were saying, it's either the personality or the gameplay. You have to have either you got all in one or a balance of the middle. You know, and I, like you said, I tend to lean more towards the entertainer aspect.
Yeah, me too.
I would much rather watch someone that's not very good at a game, but isn't having the enjoyment of playing and just interacting with chat and has a great sense of humor and a great entertainer aspect, versus having someone that is dominating the game but doesn't interact with you at all, has no entertainment aspect.
I'll never get that. Like, why would you stream something if you just don't interact with the chat, like you're not really good at the game and you're not even talking, you're just sitting there? Like, there's so many people that do that. It makes like no sense to me.
And I mean that's just for me, but I mean I've seen people like that and they have hundreds of thousands of viewers. So yeah, there are those people out there that strictly don't care about the person that's playing. They just want to see awesome gameplay footage.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, different mindsets for everything.
Well, Jordan, what we do on every show is I I got behind because I had a big race in Virginia last week that I was gearing up for, so I've kind of got behind on my production of these shows. But when I produce the show, I'll put any links that are associated with you in the show notes. So anyone who listens to this on Spotify, iTunes, Google, what's their platform? I think Google Podcasts, right?
I have no idea.
When any of the podcast platforms that this goes to, or when I produce this and I put it on YouTube as well. I'll put all of your links in there too, so people can go ahead and click there and follow you. So I'll share that with you once I get these produced.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Because that's what we want to do. It's build a community.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I've met so many cool people that like. And like we were just talking about, like I'll watch some guys and gals that I've interviewed, just watch games that I have no interest in, but it's cool seeing them do what they love. They're good at it and they're entertaining. So I'll always hop in and support them and watch them.
Yeah, and I think that is one of the biggest that's like the most helpful thing is like, especially for people just starting out, is to have that core base support group where you have people that don't really care about what games you're playing or anything like that, but they want to help you. They want to help you succeed, see you succeed. Like like my wife, she has absolutely no interest in any video games at all, but she sits there, she watches my stream, she talks in my stream. One of my buddies from back home, he has absolutely no interest in World of Warcraft. Like, he's the one that I play Warzone with. But anytime I'm streaming, even if it's WoW or whatever, he's in the stream. He's sitting there talking. He's, he tells people about it. My wife tells people about it. It's just, you need to have the core base support, and people like you, just basic support, just coming in, chatting. And like I said, that earlier when I was saying that if you don't have like a set schedule, that is a great way to fill up content where you really don't have a time slot for that content, or if you're playing and there's a downtime, or people just coming in, chatting, saying hey, just having that little interaction back and forth. That is a great way to fill up time where you're kind of just at a lull.
I love it. Yeah, that's right. And I was going to ask you too. I mean, this is kind of off topic, but it's going back. I just, like I told you, I'm a Dumbo, so I, ideas come and go out of here. So I got to strike while iron's hot.
We go for it, man.
That's right. With World of Warcraft, you said you play the OG, right? Like, you've been playing this for a while.
I've been playing since 2000, late 2008, early 2009.
Wow. Okay, so I want to ask you, and this is strictly for my stepdad. So I think it was probably 2007. I had just moved to Charlotte, North Carolina from Buffalo, and he was a huge World of Warcraft guy. And I got the game because I'm like, you know what? I moved to Charlotte. I don't know anybody. I'm like, this would be cool to like fill time for me, like. When if I'm sitting at home by myself and feeling lonely, we could, hook up and, play together, whatever. And he brought me into I got in over my head real quick because he was like I don't know, level 9,000 magistrate. I don't know what the hell, but he brings me into the guild, and I discovered that dance, button where you can make them dance, and I'm just dancing all over the place, acting like an idiot. And but all serious, it was a really cool game. But I recognized early on that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna become obsessed with this. I gotta turn this off. This will consume.
Oh yeah, no, it is. It's funny that you actually said that, because that's the reason that I started playing as well. Is like I said, me and my uncle, we were really close growing up. Whenever he joined the Army, he went to Korea. He was stationed in Korea for his first tour, and he played. And that's why I started playing, is to keep in contact with him.
That's cool.
But, like you said, it is extremely, extremely addictive for me up until a point, because now with Classic anyways, because now they're, they started all over. So now they're back on Classic. Wow, so they're back at level 1 all the way up through level 60, doing all the old OG content. And
okay, hold on. I'm gonna try to understand this here. So let's say, I don't know, like Bitcoin. It forked, right? So it's like the blockchain forked. So if you had Bitcoin and it forked, you had this like new currency, but then the old currency as well. Is that kind of like how this is? So like you could continue on the universe, or like what?
So what they have right now, so it started out with World of Warcraft, just the original, the only thing, right?
Okay.
And then they got up to X amount of expansions. Well, there was all these people that wanted to play private servers, that wanted the OG game, the original, everything like that. And Blizzard kind of shut down the private server scene. They're like, nah, screw that. We own this. People aren't coming out with it. Blah, 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 blah. Well, they had a huge backlash from all these people that wanted to play the original game. So they introduced their classic server. So now you don't have to own the current expansion, but as long as you have an active subscription, you can play the original game how it was, because they've made changes and stuff, but how it was back in 2008.
Gotcha.
And now they're starting to progress that game as well into the next expansion, while still having the live version of the game go whatever route that's going to go.
Gotcha. I see. Okay, that makes sense. What are your thoughts on that? How do you feel about that?
I don't have the newest expansion. I will not play Shadowlands. Just from my aspect, I don't like the way that it went. I mean, the concept is really great, but I personally don't like how it is now. I prefer the way it was way back when, which is why I play Classic.
Gotcha.
But I mean, Blizzard overall, I think they're a great company, but I think that they have done certain things with the World of Warcraft franchise that I don't particularly like. I played because it was a community,
Mm-hmm.
You get on to do stuff with your friends, you get a group of friends together, you get 40, you get your guild together, 40 people, 25 people, 10 people, whatever, and you go and do this stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way that you were going to do in-game content, was with this group. The way that they have it now is you can solo play absolutely everything and do all the in-game content. And I'm not a huge fan of that, but
I gotcha. Isn't that where that famous like video clip came from? Like they were talking about going in and doing this like big battle as a group, and then the one guy.
Oh yeah, Leroy
That's it. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a Hall of Fame clip. I always think about that. I always think of that clip and the South Park episode about World of Warcraft.
The Make Love Not Warcraft.
It's so stupid.
That I made my wife watch that actually a little while ago. I was trying to get her involved, trying to get her to come play around and everything like that. She made a character. She made it like level 4, and she's like, "No, I'm not about this life." I'm like, "All right, well."
That's what I'm very excited.
Thanks for trying.
Hey, that's right. All you can ask is if they don't want to do it, at least they support you, right? So that's,
exactly.
Yeah. My fiance, she's definitely not a gamer whatsoever, but we're very excited because Fall Guys is coming out for the Switch in July, and she does like that game. So we'll probably do some streams of Fall Guys. Do you know what Fall Guys is? Have you ever played it?
No.
Oh, okay. Nope. It's a ridiculous, like... It's kind of like you remember the show Wipeout on ABC?
Yes.
So it's kind of like
Wipeout.
that. You have a character, and it's you start with like 80 different people at the same time. It's not 80, maybe like 50 or 60, but it's just you qualify. So there's like 6 levels, and you never know what level you're gonna get. And it's just a stupid, fun little game, but it's okay. It's a good time. It's a good thing. People go nuts playing it. It's a fun Twitch watch. So it's coming out for the Switch in July. So. Me and my fiance are definitely going to be getting into that. I'm very excited.
Nice.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
It will be.
It's always more fun whenever you can do stuff. Like yeah, sure. There's the one thing of doing stuff with your online friends and everything like that. But when you're like you were saying, doing that with your fiance, and me and my wife actually had a conversation possibly about doing like a rock band or something.
That's cool.
It's just whenever you can do stuff with people that you're actually physically there in real life with versus your virtual friends, it's just a complete different aspect and take on everything.
It's a different dynamic. It is.
Yeah, it is.
That's why tomorrow I'm doing. So I'm a bowler. I bowl on Thursday nights, and my buddy comes over before we go bowling, and we play dog football, and he's the color commentator while I play. So like we pretend like it's real football, and just be like. you know, you got to hit the out route there. You know, it's in the off season. He hasn't been working on his arm strength, and it's showing here. You know, it's so stupid, but it's fun.
and that's what it's about. It's just that's what everything boils back down to. With streaming, with a job, anything in general, it's about having fun. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, then why do it?
That's exactly right. Life's too short. I was just telling my fiance this yesterday in the plane. I was like, whenever someone says they're bored, like that just I can't imagine ever being bored, because there's so much that I want to do. Whenever I have free time, it's like, all right, I'll do this. I can do this. And it's like, if you're bored, you're not like, you got to find some interest. Like, I just have so many different things that I wanted. Even on the plane yesterday, right? I immediately got on the plane, connected to the Wi-Fi, and I played Mario for like 3 hours and climbed the ranks. It's like I never turn it off. I wake up at like 5:30 every morning, and if I wake up at like 5:45, I roll out of bed going, oh, I'm late. Here we go. The whole day's thrown off.
Yep.
So I was going to ask you, as far as your motorsport stuff, like what. Do you do any type of like? Is it like competing, or do you do any type of like do you go to a lot of auto shows, or like what? How are you involved in that world?
It's so that was more of a hobby growing up, just racing, riding, just everything like that, and then like you were saying earlier, with the whole camaraderie with the military and everything like that. The whole motorcycle community, I'm more involved in motorcycle community than the car scene, but it's camaraderie. It's a brotherhood. You have everyone from way back when, you have all your mechanical old school Harleys, your panheads and everything like that, all the way through top of the line, take like a BMW S1000s, the Kawasaki H2R, and you put them all in one central location, and you're going to sit there and you're going to talk about nothing but motorcycles, everything from the 60s all the way up until now, and just everyone just shares that passion. And it's never like, oh, your bike sucks, your bike sucks, your bike. No, it's not that. It's always people complimenting people on whether it's the aesthetics of their bike or performance of the bike or just anything. That's why I was drawn to the motorcycle community, is because it is a camaraderie, and it's just always constantly evolving, and you're always going to have people with similar interests. Like, yeah, you may disagree on brands or whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm a Cowie guy. One of my buddies is a Honda guy. I have another buddy that nothing but Harleys. But it doesn't matter, because we all still share that common interest of being on two wheels.
So this won't mean, that's really cool, and this won't mean anything to me, but I'm going to ask you the question anyway. Your channel, your YouTube, your Twitch, everything blows up. You have more money than God. You can do whatever the hell you want. What motorcycle do you buy?
Oh man, that's hard. I honestly, do I have to buy a new one, or can I put money into one that I already have?
You can do whatever you want. This is your dream, man.
All right, so I would get a cruiser, specifically for the fact that I can take my wife out for riding. 'Cause the bike that I have now, I can't do that. So I think I would buy a cruiser and just leave it to the side stock. But then the rest of the money, I currently own my dream bike. I have a first gen ZX10 that was always been my dream bike. Wow. I own that, so I would put everything else into that, performance wise, cosmetics, everything like that. But the first thing that I would do is get something to, share with. I don't want to be a selfish person. Yeah, sure, everyone wants to get stuff for themselves, but everything that I've accomplished up until this point, since me and my wife got together, I wouldn't have been able to do it without her. So I would want to try to give back some.
What a meaningful, cool answer, man. That is, that's pretty deep. I love that right there. That's very, very cool.
And I mean, like, I currently don't work right now. we just my daughter's 6 month old. Sorry, geez. We have a 6-month-old baby girl, and so we both.
It's a little late here.
Thank you, but we both agree. I was working at the point in time when she was born, but we both agreed that it would be easier for me just to stay at home because I was only working part time. So all the money that I would have made would have been going straight to daycare anyways.
Yeah.
And with everything going on in the world, everything's up in the air, and daycare's closing, school's closing, they're reopening. Oh, you can only have X amount of people, blah 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 blah. So at that point in time, the only thing certain about anything was her job. So we both said that it would be for the most beneficial was just her to keep working because she's still got another year on her contract at this point in time. So she's gonna work and I'll stay home with the baby, and she has been nothing but supportive of me trying to stream. So if there's any way that I could try to, like you said, if I blow up tomorrow, overnight, whatever, if there's some way that I can give back just to show that appreciation, then that's what I want to do.
That's so cool, man. Well, I mean, you're definitely gonna get the Goldsmith bump here after this show. So.
Well, I appreciate it, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. We just hit about over an hour now, and that went by really fast. It's really been a pleasure talking to you. I always like to say, I mean, there's no script. There's no. I don't have any questions that I write down or anything like that. Did we not?
I was watching a few of your podcasts earlier, just trying to get a sense of where this was going to go. And like you said, there's not scripted, so everything is just kind of all over the place. So I'm like, I told my wife right before we started, I'm like, I am completely nervous. I have no idea what's going to happen. And I feel like I'm going to a job interview. I don't know what I'm doing.
No reason to be nervous, man. It's over an hour, and we just, I'm a talker. So
it was a lot of fun.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I really just like meeting new people and just people doing cool stuff. So I always like to say, is there anything that we didn't cover that you thought we were going to cover, or anything that you want to put out there?
That's one of the things I hate the most, is being put on the spot like that. But no, like I honestly had no expectations coming into this. I didn't know what you were going to ask, when or how. I didn't know if we were going to have like a flow of questions coming in from your chat, or I had no expectations coming into this. I was just trying to come in completely open-minded. I didn't have anything set that I wanted to say. I didn't, I wasn't sitting there, okay, if you ask me this, I'm going to say this. It's just kind of going with what happens, Well,
then you were the perfect guest for the show, and you nailed it, man. I really do appreciate your time, and thanks for everyone to watch for watching and listening, and all of Jordan's links are going to be in the show notes as well. So make sure you go check him out, subscribe, like his videos, and looking forward to. I'll be watching your if you ever get those videos up about how to with auto stuff. I mean, it's
I'm gonna be trying to get a few more things on YouTube here coming soon. Try to get more IRL stuff, more do-it-yourself stuff, just everything in general. So I'm gonna try to get everything pushing out here soon.
Love it, brother. Well, thanks for your time, and again, thank you for your service to the country, and I wish you the best of luck with everything, man. We'll stay in touch.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you having me.
All right.